BMF Entertainment. From the streets to the studio. Demetrius Big Meech Flenory has a genuine love for music. When it was time to take his newborn son, Lil Meech, home from the hospital, Big Meech strapped him into the car seat and loudly blasted hip-hop. He told Latara that their baby boy has to get used to this. Young Jeezy says that when he would go to Big Meech's house, they would listen to music the entire day until it was time to go to the club, where DJs blasted even more hip-hop. Demetrius and his brother Terry had music in their blood since childhood, thanks to their father. So it wasn't surprising when they attempted to legitimize the Black Mafia family by launching a record label. BMF's drug empire has been well documented, so this video will focus on Big Meech and Southwest T's venture into the music industry. We'll explore Stomping Ground Records and take a deep dive into the role that the Black Mafia family played in Atlanta's emergence as the nation's hip-hop capital. We'll examine BMF Entertainment and break down Meech's marketing moves, from the infamous billboards to the unforgettable Smack and Raw Report DVDs. Bleu Da Vinci will be discussed, and we'll analyze Meech's impact on young Jeezy's career. Finally, we'll delve into BMF's most notorious beefs, from Diddy's former bodyguard, Wolf Jones, to Gucci Mane. Without further ado, BMF Entertainment. From the streets to the studio. Stomping Ground. In the Star's BMF series, the Flenory brothers meet Purdy, a rising R&B singer, who inspires them to launch a music label that they name Stomping Ground Records. In real life, Meech and Tee actually did establish Stomping Ground Entertainment in the 1990s. They deliberately chose not to include BMF in the company's name to avoid drawing unwanted attention from law enforcement. In the show, Purdy wants to shift from R&B to rap and convinces Meech to take her to the Source Awards. In reality, there were no female artists the brothers tried to sign, but soon after starting the label, Meech and Tee began to clash over which genre of music they should focus on. Terry wanted to sign R&B artists and had a relationship with legendary producer Pooh Bear, who wrote several tracks on Usher's multi-platinum album Confessions, including the hit Caught Up. Demetrius was a fan of Southern crunk and trap music and wanted to sign rappers. As depicted in the series, the ATL is quickly becoming a major hub for hip-hop, with Andre 3000 announcing that the South got something to say at the 1995 Source Awards. Meech ultimately got his way, and Stomping Ground signed rapper Bleu Da Vinci from Carson City, California. In 2001, Bleu dropped the track Addicted, featuring Corrupt and Too Short. The cover art displays Stomping Ground's logo in gold, but it ended up being the only song released by the label before it went defunct due to beef between Meech and Terry. Atlanta, the greatest show on earth. By the early 2000s, Demetrius and his crew were taking over the A, partying nearly every night of the week. Their presence in the city was legendary, described as the greatest show on earth. Meech and his entourage, sometimes more than 100 deep, would pull up to clubs in a fleet of luxury vehicles, Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, Lambos, Ferraris, and Maybachs. Foreign cars lined the streets. Once inside, their VIP sections were lit, and beautiful women would flock. Bottles of champagne were popped endlessly and were consumed at breakneck speed. Meech would create his own playlist, dictating the soundtrack of their lavish nights. From Magic City to Vision, the ATL's clubs became their playgrounds, spending tens of thousands of dollars every night. BMF frequently engaged in its trademark move of making it rain, throwing fistfuls of cash in the air. The bills would descend like droplets, leaving a green carpet worth of money. And the crowd would go wild. Rapper T.I. says he watched Meech throw $500,000 in one night. When you spend that much money, clubs don't close. BMF would also host some of the most lavish parties the hip-hop world has ever seen. Demetrius had a safari-themed 36th birthday celebration, nicknamed Meech of the Jungle, at Atlanta's Compound Club. It featured $100,000 worth of rented exotic animals, including an elephant, ostrich, zebras, and lions. Atlanta's emergence as a hip-hop capital, combined with the deep connection between street life and rap culture, created the perfect environment for Big Meech. BMF galvanized the ATL's club industry, transforming the city into a major destination. With Meech holding down the streets and the A's talented MCs cooking up classics in the studio, the city became a force to be reckoned with. BMF Entertainment. In the early 2000s, Meech launched BMF Entertainment, a record label and promotion company. Demetrius was listed as CEO, and high-ranking BMF member Chad J-Bo Brown was made COO. Like Stomping Ground, Bleu Da Vinci was the only artist signed to BMF. The rapper designed the label's original logo, opting for a look that gave it the appearance of a major corporation like IBM. This time, Meech embraced the Black Mafia family in the name of the label. Some say he thought he was untouchable, since he made sure the feds would never be able to actually catch him red-handed with weight. He had soldiers for that. Several members of the crew got BMF Entertainment tattoos, proving their loyalty to Meech at a time when he was feeling vulnerable since him and Terry were at odds. From Death Row to Rockefeller, No Limit, Murder Inc., Cash Money, and Rap-A-Lot. The list of hip-hop record labels launched with drug money is long. Like Meech, Many artists and label founders come from environments where opportunities are few, leading them to the drug game. Demetrius aspired for the record label to become a credible force in hip-hop, envisioning himself joining the ranks of industry moguls like Diddy, Birdman, and Suge Knight. The first step was changing BMF's public image. From the streets to the studio, Demetrius adopted a highly visible and extravagant approach to advertise BMF Entertainment, including 5 billboards around Atlanta. One proclaimed, "The world is BMF's," a nod to Scarface's "The world is yours." He got the idea from Jermaine Dupri, who also used the massive displays to promote So-So Def Records. But unlike Jermaine, Meech was a drug dealer, and some believe that he put them up to let the feds know that he was untouchable. While intended to establish BMF Entertainment as a legitimate record label and Demetrius as a businessman, they also drew unwanted attention from law enforcement. Meech wasn't worried. He also launched a lifestyle magazine called The Juice, co-founded by Mama Juice, also known as Omerta Cosa Nostra, the first lady of BMF. The glossy, dual covers featured Demetrius on one side and Jeezy on the other. BMF Entertainment was one of the first hip-hop record labels with a website. Demetrius also hit the streets. In 2003, Meech and about 70 BMF members pulled up to Atlanta's birthday bash, but were denied entry due to the size of their group. Undeterred, Meech took to the sky. With a pilot on call, he arranged for a helicopter to drop garbage bags filled with cash into the crowd, along with flyers promoting a BMF mixtape. Demetrius also collaborated with underground hip-hop magazines to release BMF Entertainment DVDs. The organization's most highly visible appearance was in a full-length documentary produced by The Raw Report, released in 2004 as a free bonus DVD. It gave a detailed inside look at the BMF movement, showcasing the glitz and glamour. Bleu Da Vinci appears throughout the entire film, which is split into chapters, each named after a member of the crew, including Baby D, Paul Kane, Young Jeezy, S-Class, and J-Bo. Baby D's chapter shows him in the studio wearing a free Meech shirt. The Decatur rapper was signed to Camp Records and introduced Gucci Mane to BMF, leading to his collaboration with Jeezy on the hit song Icy. Paul Kane is the brother of Brooklyn rapper Fabulous, who has close ties to BMF and has been featured on multiple tracks with Bleu, including Streets on Lock. In Jeezy's chapter, he's seen in the studio with Bleu spitting some bars. They discuss the price of weed in LA compared to Atlanta. BMF producer S-Class, also known as S-Classic, has a short segment in the video explaining that he charges $20,000 a track and has worked with Dub C, Beanie Sigel, Trick Daddy, and Juvenile. J-Bo is introduced as the label's chief operating officer and proclaims that the crew has Atlanta on lock. At the end of the DVD, Meech discusses BMF Entertainment's future plans, stating that most labels try to push 10 to 20 artists, spreading their efforts thin. "That's why all our independent focus is on Bleu Da Vinci," he proclaims. About a year after the Raw Report, Demetrius continued his efforts to legitimize BMF Entertainment with the release of a Smack DVD that documented the label's operations in Miami. The video was divided into 4 chapters, each spotlighting a key player in the movement: Bleu, Ill, J-Bo, and Meech. Da Vinci spits some rhymes in his chapter and discusses several expensive cars before flashing a .357 Magnum handgun. The Ill chapter, named after high-ranking member Fleming Ill Daniels, features Miami Mayor Manny Diaz. The J-Bo segment shows the crew in the South Beach Club teasers to celebrate his birthday. The Brat makes an appearance and Lil Scrappy is seen bouncing to his hit song, No Problem, alongside Meech. We also see Marquet Baby Blue Dixon, a BMF member who Bleu Da Vinci considered his younger brother, although they weren't actually related. In 2006, Baby Blue was sadly murdered in the parking lot of a Buckhead club called The Living Room. In the second-to-last scene, Da Vinci gives the Smack camera crew a tour of the cars parked on the grounds of the South Beach hideout where BMF was staying. Gleaming in matching silver sat a Lamborghini Gallardo, Rolls-Royce Phantom, and Bentley GT Coupe, each ride a reflection of the crew's bold presence in Miami. The documentary ends with Meech's chapter. He declares that everybody moves like brothers. I'm a good leader, so I got good people that follow. Everybody's shining like new money. From the billboards to the DVDs, Demetrius tried hard to convince the world that BMF was a legitimate record label. Now, he just needed a talented rapper that could sell enough albums to persuade a music mogul to boost BMF Entertainment's legitimacy with a distribution deal, establishing the company as a major label subsidiary, similar to the move Young Jeezy made, signing himself and Corporate Thugs Entertainment to Def Jam. The 7-figure infusion of funds allowed CTE to build a stable of artists, including rapper Slick Pulla and Blood Raw. For Meech, landing a similar deal was his ticket to freedom. Betting on Bleu. BMF Entertainment's only signed artist, Bleu Da Vinci, was born Barima McKnight on February 27, 1978, and grew up in Carson City, California. The name Bleu comes from his association with the Crips. He dropped out of high school and sold drugs to make ends meet. After getting shot, he drifted away from the streets and started rapping. In the late 90s, he served as a hype man for multiple MCs. Da Vinci's life changed when his cousin, rapper Raz Kaz, landed a record deal. He went on tour with him and got to witness legendary artists in the studio, including Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Bleu recorded some demo tapes and was eventually introduced to DJ Pooh, the co-writer of the classic movie Friday. Pooh also directed the film 3 Strikes and convinced Bleu to appear in it by offering him a spot on the soundtrack. Bleu also had a small part in Tupac's 2017 biopic, All Eyes on Me. Da Vinci met Big Meech through DJ Pooh. At the time, Meech was trying to get Stomping Ground up and running, but didn't know much about the music industry. After the label went defunct, Bleu helped Meech launch BMF Entertainment and Demetrius named him president. Meech poured significant financial backing into Bleu's career, including studio time and luxuries like fancy cars and diamond-studded chains, aiming to catapult him into stardom. Demetrius dropped $500,000 on the music video for Da Vinci's 2004 single, We Still Here, directed by famed hip-hop videographer Benny Boom and featuring rappers Fabulous and E40. Ironically, Meech himself appeared in these videos, often portraying a drug trafficker despite active FBI investigations. In 2005, Bleu was preparing to release his debut album, but it was delayed due to the death of his close friend, Baby Bleu. On October 3, 2006, the label released a compilation album called The World is BMF's, Volume 2. Bleu appears on most of the tracks, many of which were produced by BMF's in-house producer, S-Class. Da Vinci explains that he decided to drop the compilation to showcase his skills and introduce his protégés, Touge, Uwe, and Computer. The World is BMF's, Volume 2, became the only album released on BMF Entertainment. The feds had already caught up to Meech by the time the album dropped, and he was eventually sentenced to 30 years. Da Vinci's style is undeniably West Coast, reminiscent of Ice Cube and Mac 10. If BMF Entertainment had been based in California, Bleu's career would have likely received more support. Ultimately, Meech's attempt to push a Cali rapper in the heart of the ATL simply didn't align. Jeezy was raised in Atlanta and had deep roots in the streets, which made it easy for him to connect with the city's heartbeat, and the community embraced him. Bleu, or a character based on him, won't be appearing in the Star's BMF series because Meech claimed he's a snitch. Da Vinci denies the allegations and has produced numerous receipts. In 2008, Da Vinci was sentenced to 5 years and 4 months in federal prison. He was released in 2011. Bleu warned 50 Cent that there would be consequences if the show portrays him falsely. Although he won't be on BMF, he has made an appearance on the VH1 reality show, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, alongside Keely Hill, the mother of his son, Xavier. Keely is a music industry exec and marketing representative. Bleu recently expanded into gaming and launched BMF World RP, a role-playing environment similar to Grand Theft Auto, allowing players to take on the persona of a character, create their own stories, and play out a virtual life. Light Chance of Snow. In 2003, Meech began to direct his resources toward rappers he believed stood a chance of stardom. Jay Jenkins, better known as Young Jeezy, or The Snowman, was one of those MCs. While Bleu Da Vinci was the only artist BMF officially signed, Jeezy was the most successful rapper, affiliated with the label. I Know Big Meech, the real Big Meech, raps Snow on the 2006 remix of Rick Ross's single, Hustlin'. O-Dog, a member of BMF, grew up with Jenkins and introduced him to Meech. When they met, the rapper was already running his own record label, Corporate Thugs Entertainment, also known as CTE, which he launched in 1998. Demetrius was a fan of Southern hip-hop and fell in love with Jeezy's music. The drug kingpin could relate to his bars, from thug motivation to trap or die. Meech and Jizzle were a dynamic duo. Jeezy crafted the music, which Demetrius then promoted, often paying DJs in Atlanta's clubs to play the Snowman's songs. Rapper 2 Chainz explains that one night at Magic City, the DJ played We Getting Money Over Here by Jeezy and Bun B 7 times in a row. With the Snowman's lyrics reflecting Meech's lifestyle, it was a raw, real-time loop of art imitating life. Jeezy's songs became BMF's club anthems, the soundtracks of their lives. Demetrius says that nothing, not the money, not the respect, not the notoriety, was more exhilarating than one thing, pushing Jeezy. With the support of Meech and BMF, Snow was on the fast track to hip-hop's upper echelon. Demetrius introduced the rapper to Akon, leading to their collaboration on the hit song Soul Survivor. Meech appears in the video for the track, with an iced-out BMF chain. According to director Benny Boom, the video shoot drew numerous popular New York MCs, and they all came wearing their flashiest jewels and driving their most expensive cars. Benny explains that Jay-Z pulled up in a newly on the market sky blue Maybach. Not long after, Meech, who had driven from Atlanta to be part of the festivities, arrived with 2 all-black new Maybachs. He promptly pulled them up, blocking in Jay's whip, a power move that forced Mr. Carter to have to speak to Meech. Some believe that Jeezy should have signed with BMF, but the rapper established Corporate Thugs Entertainment years before meeting Demetrius. When major labels, including Warner, Universal, and Interscope, started making lucrative offers, Meech advised Jeezy to sign with Def Jam, and the Snowman hasn't looked back since. What's beef? Beef has been a part of hip-hop since its inception, so it wasn't surprising when Meech and BMF Entertainment started clashing with rappers and rival crews. Demetrius had ties to both Sean, Diddy Combs, and Suge Knight, central figures in the beef between Tupac and Biggie, the most intense feud in hip-hop history. In 2003, Puff's former bodyguard, Anthony Wolf Jones, was fatally shot during a confrontation outside Club Chaos in Atlanta. Demetrius was arrested and charged with the murder. Wolf was no stranger to conflict. He might have single-handedly kicked off the East Coast-West Coast rap war by killing Suge Knight's bodyguard and close friend, Jake, the Violator, Robles, outside the Platinum nightclub in 1995. The murder was witnessed by Chris Howard, an off-duty Fulton County sheriff who was working security at the club. In his statement to police that night, Howard said the shooting stemmed from an argument during the party, involving individuals associated with Death Row and Bad Boy, including Knight and Combs. Wolf was the top suspect in the case, but avoided indictment. In an interview with the Source magazine, Knight said he holds Combs responsible for Jake's death. Nearly 20 years later, Meech is linked to Wolf's murder. The allegations didn't impact Diddy's relationship with Demetrius, and a few months after the incident, young Jeezy signed with Bad Boy Records and joined the group Boys in the Hood. Jeezy's affiliation with the Black Mafia Family led to claims that BMF was involved in the Gucci Man robbery attempt. It all started with Guap and Jizzle's song Icy, which was produced by Zaytoven, who has a tight bond with Gucci. When they were in the studio working on the track, Jeezy wasn't interested in it because it was commercial, unlike the quality street music his fans loved. To everyone's surprise, Icy became an underground hit, so Jeezy's camp approached Gucci's label to acquire the record, but Mr. Zone 6 wasn't interested in selling it. The Snowman wasn't taking no for an answer. He allegedly tried to cut Guap out the deal, offering Zaytoven life-changing money for ownership of the song. Zay's loyalty was with Gucci, so he refused. The rappers started trading shots back and forth over several diss tracks. In the song Stay Strapped, Jeezy put a $10,000 bounty on Gucci's chain. Guap quickly fired back with round one, advising Jeezy to put a dress on because Meech wears the pants in their relationship. Shortly after the diss tracks dropped, the war of words turned violent. Gucci was the victim of a home invasion by a group of armed robbers. One of the men drew a gun. Stay strapped. He'd been warned. Gucci drew faster, fatally shooting the intruder in self-defense. The deceased was later identified as Pookie Lock, a rapper on Jeezy's CTE record label. Gucci's lawyers claimed that the Black Mafia family was responsible for the home invasion because of Jeezy's close relationship with Meech and members of BMF. As a result, the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office announced that the FBI was investigating BMF's alleged involvement. In 2005, Jeezy released his major label debut, Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101. The Atlanta rapper was met with instant mainstream success, but his rise to stardom ultimately led to friction between him and the Black Mafia family. The Snowman's manager at the time, Coach K, pressured him to stay away from Meech and his crew. Other record execs gave him the same advice, and eventually, Jeezy listened. He stopped clearing songs for BMF Entertainment and severed ties with Demetrius after he got locked up. Several BMF members got on a tour bus and pulled up on Jeezy in Miami, where they confronted him for turning his back on the crew. After a face-off, they squashed the beef. Rapper Cam'ron recently revealed that his Diplomats crew got into a squabble in Miami with the Black Mafia family back in the day. They were at a club where BMF's VIP section overlooked the crowd from a balcony above the area where Dipset was congregated. BMF spilled drinks on members of the Diplomats, including Jim Jones, leading to a minor altercation. In an interview, Bleu Da Vinci reveals that the crew has also had past confrontations with affiliates of Outkast and 3-6 Mafia over club space. These misunderstandings are quickly resolved, and BMF maintains close ties to Dipset, Outkast, and 3-6. Standing Ovation. So, was BMF Entertainment just a front company to launder money from cocaine sales? No. Demetrius and Terry's profound love for music began early, fueled by their father, Charles Flenory, whose passion for music bordered on obsession. From the tender age of 13, in the early 60s, Charles dreamed of becoming a professional musician. But with no money for music lessons and a family struggling to make ends meet, that dream had to wait. When his father, a World War II veteran, fell seriously ill, Charles picked up shifts at a Cleveland steel factory and handed over every paycheck to support his family. Still, music never left his heart. In what little spare time he had, he relentlessly taught himself to play guitar and eventually earned a spot in his church's gospel band. As shown in the Star's BMF series, his musical aspirations became a lifelong pursuit. He transformed their home basement into a small recording studio, keeping his dream alive. Demetrius was mesmerized by it. He wanted in, so Charles encouraged him to learn an instrument, and soon, father and son were playing together in the church band, Charles on guitar and Demetrius on drums. When Charles took the stage with his sacred steel guitar, it was gospel with the soul of Hendrix, raw, electrifying, and unforgettable. This was the foundation of Meech's love for the music industry. Decades later, this same love led to his attempt to transition from the streets to the studio. So, did Big Meech successfully move from the dope game to the music industry? Without Meech, young Jeezy may not have become the certified voice of trap music and cultural icon he is today. While he wasn't able to avoid getting locked up, Big Meech and BMF transformed Atlanta's nightlife and culture, playing a pivotal role in the city's emergence as the epicenter of hip-hop. The Black Mafia Family brought an unprecedented level of opulence to the A, which was previously only fantasized about. The crew galvanized the club industry, making the city a tourist hotspot. No one wanted to miss the greatest show on earth. BMF's presence meant increased profits for every business, every hairdresser, every restaurant. From corner barbershops to luxury boutiques, everyone ate, because when BMF touched down, Atlanta lit up, and the money flowed like champagne. Today, Meech's name still rings bells, and ATL rappers continue to dominate hip-hop. From 21 Savage to Lil Baby, Playboi Carti to Young Thug, Future, Migos. The streets and the studio remain tethered together. The world is still BMF's, and continues to listen to what the South got to say. What's your take on Meech's attempt to shift from the streets to the music industry? Do you think launching BMF Entertainment was a smart move, or did the lifestyle that came with it bring unwanted attention from the feds? Share your thoughts in the comments below.